This is Resonance 104.4 FM. Flipping marvellous, of course. How are you? My name's Nick Hennigan, but, I can't help that. Blame me parents. And this is Literary London on the Big R, where we talk about things, about London and about literature. But I thought this time, because I can, we'd look at London literature, but also a kind of a review of the year 2022. I know most people do this kind of around, the end of the year, but, allow me to be a little bit, late. One or two of the things that I've done over the last year, 2022. Of course, it was the first real year, I suppose, where we didn't have to live with lockdown and the terrible COVID illness that was tied us up in knots for years. And the Edinburgh Festival returned, and I'm going to play a few hot tunes from the Edinburgh Festival. There's a production that I saw that won a Fringe first called And Then the Rodeo Burned Down, which has transferred to London as I speak. I'm not quite sure where it's going to be on and when, but I'll keep you in touch with that. And if you want to know about the Edinburgh Festival, then do go and have a listen to bohemianbritain.com, where all these radio shows are archived. And of course, Resonance has got our own archive as well. So, I thought I'd do a little bit of that. And there was another fairly big event in West London, in Chiswick, actually Bedford Park to be more specific. And Bedford Park's a fascinating area. It was the first kind of artist colony, I suppose, really, once the tube arrived at Turnham Green. Get me right. Stamford Brook's the one near the pub, the Raven. Yeah, that's why I fell into that trap. Anyway, carry on. One more stop past that, and you get to Turnham Green. Come out of Turnham Green Tube, turn right, and you will see a brand new sculpture, and it's called Enwrought Light, created by the artist Shawcross, and it was the brainchild, passion child, love of the life of a local poet, Cathal Dallat. Now, if you're a regular listener to Resonance FM, or if you see my videos on bohemianbritain.com, you'll know Cathal. And I actually was fundraising for a thing called the People's Company, the West London People's Company, when Cathal was started to raise funds for this sculpture. I managed to do it in a year. He was 8 or 9 years in the doing. Obviously, he was looking for a lot more money, and it was a far more complicated project. But I remember him saying to me right at the start, "Blimey, you're doing really well, aren't you?" And I was very flattered. But I can now say, with all honesty, blimey, Cathal, you did really well, didn't you? Now, if you want to hear the whole opening ceremony, which I recorded, it's over an hour long. That again is on Bohemian Britain. But there were a couple of interviews that I did, they're sort of off the beaten track. I took me a little electric handbag down and had a chat with one or two people, including, would you believe, Andy Slaughter. Andy Slaughter is the MP, the Member of Parliament for Hammersmith. And I asked him about art as well. But first of all, it's a bit windy, by the way, because I didn't have a pop cover. I won't get too technical, but I forgot my pop cover. So it's a little bit windy. But I grabbed one of the locals and had a quick chat with him. So we're here at the tribute to W.B. Yeats, and I've just grabbed someone. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
My name is James Ballantyne. Yeah.
And
I have Sligo connections.
Right.
Yes.
So here we are for the first time. People are seeing it for the first time. What do you think of the I'm not sure what to call it, statue, the monument?
I know, yes. I think it's very, very striking, very beautiful. And I love the way it reflects the light in all directions, that is the Enwrought light that Shawcross wanted to get. I think he's captured it certainly brilliantly.
It does actually. It's a strange thing to say because, of course, we're on audio at the moment, but it looked better than it did in the pictures. The real thing.
Yes, it did. It did. That's what I was just saying to Cathal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, and when there's more space and we've all departed, you can get a proper look at it then, in quietude, if you like. I think that would be really nice.
So the thing to do is try and find, where are we now? St Michael's and
St Michael's here.
And All Angels. Is it St Michael's? Yes, St Michael's All Angels Church.
Yes,
that's right. I should know where I am really. Yeah. And it's. Oh, thank you for your time. Anyway.
Not at all. You're welcome. Yeah.
And did you have any personal favourites of Yeats? I mean, is Yeats one of your? Do you like poetry?
I like most of his poems. I do. Yes. Yeah.
And it is quite cool to think he got a lot of his inspiration from around
here locally. Indeed. Yeah. No, he lived here for a long time. And Cathal does walks sometimes around Chiswick. You can join on them and he'll point out all the areas where Yeats used to be, where he used to walk, the friends he had who lived here as well, and well worth doing sometime if you ever. That's Cathal Dallat now, who's the inspiration behind all this, and. If Cathal is ever doing the walk again, I'm sure he will at some stage. It'd be well worth your while joining it, I think.
I have actually done it.
Oh, have you?
But no, it's
excellent.
nice. Cathal, it was kind of his driving force. He's a poet as well, isn't
Yes,
he?
he is. Yes, he
and
is.
we've spoken to him before, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to him again.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the occasion.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and have a good day. Yeah.
A rather lovely interlude there from a couple of. Is that a cor anglais? Sorry to. What are you called?
Sorry?
What is that a cor anglais?
It's a soprano sax.
Guys, yeah, I thought I got. And what are you called if you don't mind me?
The Finnegan Viscardi Joe. Finnegan Viscardi Joe.
Brilliant.
Sax and harp Joe.
Fantastic, it's fantastic. Anyway, I'll let you get on with this. I dive in enough and do things like that. Right.
Had I the heavens embroidered cloths, enwrought with golden and silver light, the blue and the dim and the dark cloths of night, and light, and the half-light, I would spread the cloths under your feet, but I, being poor, have only my dreams. I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, because you tread on my dreams.
Well, the opening has all happened, and I'm floating around. I've come across a very friendly face. It's Hammersmith Andy, as you're known on social media. Andy Slaughter, your MP for Hammersmith. Hammersmith and Fulham, isn't it?
Just Hammersmith,
yeah.
yes.
Is it just
yes,
Hammersmith?
yes,
Yeah. So, I mean, it's lovely to see you here. I mean, kind of what brought you here, apart from the fact it's an event slightly outside your area at the moment, isn't it?
Well, it is lovely to be here, and it's not just to avoid the Prime Minister being coronated in Downing Street, but it was lovely to be here with many friends and many distinguished guests for what's a really fantastic event. You're right, I am just outside my patch. I'm MP for Hammersmith, and that starts about 300 or 400 yards up the road from here. But this is, as someone eloquently said in the unveiling of the sculpture, this is not just for Bedford Park or Hounslow or even for West London. It's for the whole UK and the whole world, and it's a fantastic sculpture. And it's quite breathtaking seeing it in the flesh, as it were, or in the welded metal. And it's a real asset to the area, and I think everyone's going to really appreciate it being here.
It's kind of, I suppose, in a sense, almost enforces how important art generally, I mean, not necessarily high art, but art generally is to all communities. And I know you as the MP for Hammersmith, you've made a lot of initiatives that make the place a lot easier and greener, and you've also been very supportive of the arts. I mean, there's the Lyric Hammersmith Theatre, for instance, and also, of course, the Maverick Theatre Company you've also supported. I guess I suppose it's a reference to having a better life, perhaps. reading a good book, seeing a good picture,
Yeah, I mean, again, we're lucky, but it's also luck we've made ourselves in supporting the arts. We've got the Bush Theatre, we've got Riverside Studios, we've got the Lyric, Curtains Up. We've got a lot of very, very good amateur theatre and opera and orchestras in Hammersmith, and we're very, very proud of them, and we try to keep them going even in the difficult times that we've had recently. But as I say, this spreads across borders, and people aren't bound by constituency or borough boundaries in that way. It is all one community. I say that because my own boundaries are changing, and I may be the candidate for Hammersmith and Chiswick next time, so I'm on my best behaviour today as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thank you very much for your time. And you're back to work now, aren't you? I think.
I'm playing truant a little bit today, but I think I can be allowed this indulgence to be here at the unveiling, because it's going to be modern sculpture, if I can use that sort of slightly crass phrase. Sometimes it's controversial, and we found that with public art in Hammersmith as well. But I haven't heard one and this, of course, is in right in the middle of the arts and crafts Bedford Park. I haven't heard one person say anything other than sheer praise and delight for it. So all credit to the sculpture, but to everyone who's done it, particularly Cahill, who has been working on this. We've now heard for 9 years.
That's a long time. That's a commitment too, isn't it? Oh, well, fantastic thing. Oh, well, thank you very much for your time. Sorry to drag you out, as it were, and see you soon in Hammersmith.
Yeah, well, indeed, and it's lovely. Thank you for asking my opinion of somebody who is wholly ignorant on the matter of art. But there we are.
Brilliant. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you very much.
Good old Hammersmith Andy. I actually saw Andy Slaughter at an event just before Christmas, after we'd obviously unveiled the artwork. And I said to him, "So, well, you finished for Christmas now?" It was about the 24th or something. No, sorry, 20th, 19th of December. He went, "Nope." I said, "When do you finish?" He said, 25th in the evening. I've got to go an old folks' supper that I'm going to go to. And I thought, well, good for you, mate. I said, "Will you get any time off over Christmas?" He said, "Yeah, I'll probably lie in bed all day Boxing Day, but then I'm back at it again." So anyway, it's nice to see human and humane members of Parliament. And again, congratulations to Cahill Dallat. If you want to go to Bedford Park, as I say, get on the District Line, jump off at Turnham Green Tube Station, turn right, and the Enwrought Light by the artist Shawcross is there now. And of course, I played for you just before that, read by Lenny James. You heard "He Wishes for the Cloths of Heaven" by W.B. Yeats, the poem that influenced all that. Cool, good stuff. Another big event. I actually started acting. I've been asked to read in a rehearsed reading as an actor. I did sort of do a bit of actor training years ago, but I don't think I'm brave enough, to be honest. And I wrote a version of Shakespeare's Henry V called Henry V, Lion of England, and I did it originally for me to perform. That's what I thought. Because I was DJing as well. I was working live, and I was working on a radio station called BR&B in Birmingham, part of the Capital Radio Group now. In fact, it's called Free Radio now. And I remember thinking, I could do this and maybe go out and perform it for £50 a night, not realising there was a whole industry of people that do one-person shows. Of course, I discovered later on. And I actually got a mate of mine to do it from Amdram. And we did it for one night at the Midlands Arts Centre in Birmingham. And it got picked up by Jasper Carrott's management, and they took us to the Edinburgh Festival, and I was blown away by the Edinburgh Festival. And the rest, they say, is history. So I haven't really done much acting, but I've been asked to read. It's a rehearsed reading at the Tavard Theatre again, which is in Chiswick, just over the road from the statue of the Enwrought Light. And I kind of know them a little bit. And they said, "You used to act, didn't you?" And I went, "A little bit, yeah." It was a rehearsed reading, so that's kind of where you sit there with a script. They said, "We'd like you to play the lead." I said, "Oh, all right, and great. What's it called?" He said, "It's called Delinquent Dad." Eh? Delinquent Dad? Well, for a start, I haven't got any kids, so that's wrong, isn't it? Oh, darling, I can feel the tension rising in me. I'll be all right. I'll report back to you, my loves. Oh, I will, darlings, I will. And of course, the other big event for 2022 was the Edinburgh Festival returned. And we saw some great theatre, as I've mentioned before. Then the rodeo burnt down, won a Fringe first. A couple of young American girls women who had to do extra jobs to get to Edinburgh. Then they won the Fringe first. They extended it. They were only supposed to be there, I think, for a week. And if you want to hear them, then have a listen to BohemianBritain.com, which is my kind of mishmash of of a blog, of a website. Of course, Edinburgh was kind of back to full swing, almost. I think there were like 80% of the shows that there had been before the lockdown, before the COVID thing happened. So it was a pretty cool time. And so right now on Literary London, Resonance at 104.4 FM, I'm Nick Hennigan, and we're going to go back. Oh yeah, we're going to go back to the Edinburgh Festival, summer 2022, with a little bit of cowboying.
My son said, my papa, now listen, you gotta prepare for what's coming to you. Your prospects are dried up, the family's bankrupt, and my debts, they are all coming due. But a young single woman, possessed of a fortune, is universally acknowledged to be in want of a husband. You gotta find yourself a pretty little gold mine.
Well, I know your older brother Jake gets heads to turn and hearts to break, but he just clams up when he's around a girl. As for your little brother Lyle, although his mouth can run a mile, you ain't got the sense the good Lord gave a squirrel. Lady Luck just moved to town and brought her single friends around and sent the longboards and invite to a housewarming hoedown where you can find yourself a pretty little gold mine. When I was young, they suckered me with the line that I should marry for love. But with kids to feed, no equity, my son, that love just isn't enough. So get on down to Nettisfield, it's the great big house with the Ferris wheel, and take your grand's engagement ring. It don't matter how you feel, you got to find yourself a pretty little gold mine. Ah-ha! Take it now. Said it used to be a man took pride in being the one to provide, but the feministas stole our pants away. Now if we dare to disagree, it's toxic masculinity, till a man can't tell what role he's supposed to play. Despite all these complaints about how we should cry instead of shout, with one thing boys still come equipped, what the girls can't do without. That's how you find yourself a pretty little gold mine. Well, know you harbor dreams of making music and being a star, but without the blessings of a patroness, this world don't shoot those stars very far. Bennett, you're not exactly hot, but you got wits and that's a lot. So get some Harris in the sack and give her everything you got. You got to find yourself a pretty little gold mine. I'll sing it again. A pretty little gold mine.
That was great fun. Pretty Little Gold Mine. And that was from a premiere, I should say. I think it was a world premiere, or perhaps no, it'd been performed in the States. But certainly it was at the Space, I do believe, the Space UK, at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe this year. And it's from a folk musical. It's a Prejudice and Pride, it's called, by Sam Wright and the Bard Owls. And I know a few of the people, of course, involved in the production of that. And it's kind of hard if you go to Edinburgh. It's massively expensive. Accommodation last year was terrible. It looks like it's going to be the same again this year. But it's kind of like nothing else on earth, really. I do wonder why we keep putting ourselves through it. When I say we, creators of writers and producers put ourselves through it. But we end up doing it most years. And of course, I had a great time at Edinburgh Festival because I directed and produced and slightly adapted a brand new drama called Winston and David, about Winston Churchill and David Lloyd George, the two prime ministers, and how they were influenced by each other. And of course, as always with my collaborations, my mate Rob Williams wrote a cracking soundtrack. That's good stuff, isn't it? Good old Rob Williams, me old mucker. The first thing he wrote for me was back in 1992, I do believe. And we're still going strong now. That was the theme song from Winston and David, written by Robert Lloyd George, who is David Lloyd George's great-great-grandson. And a good geezer too. He brought me a present, actually, for directing the show. Complete works of Shakespeare, which were rather lovely. And so... that's kind of almost it. Stuff to do this year? Well, if you know of a venue, a pub, or a community hall that doesn't normally have theatre, we've got the rights to do a play called Two by Jim Cartwright. Jim Cartwright's famous for writing The Rise and Fall of Little Voice, which was made into a film with Jane Horrocks. Of course, Road, which he wrote years ago. And Two is 14 characters, 2 actors, and 1 pub. And Maverick's going to be taking it out around the country for probably about £100. So if you know a pub that fancies putting on a play and they've got £100, let's face it, that's 10 tickets. And if I go, we'll drink more than that, won't we? Of course we will. Yeah. There's also a lot of public relations that goes with it as well. Then do get in touch with me. As always, probably the best way to get in touch and do, of course, if you've got a literary project that's happening, then drop me an email. We are on Twitter. I think it's at Literary Pubs. Or I'm at Nick Hennigan, Hennegan. But probably just do radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. Email radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. And I say, if you've got anything happening, if there's any literary events that you know of, not just in London, but of course around the world, then equally let me know. If you've written a book or you've got some poetry or something you want us to talk about, then let's do that too. The world is our oyster, my love, hey? So do get in touch. And again, if you know anywhere in the country that wants to put on a play, an upstairs room of a pub or a back room of a pub or a community centre, then for any of that, just drop me an email. radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. And that's it. That's all we've got time for this time. And happy coughing, as many of us have been doing over the last few weeks and months over the festive period. Have a fantastic time, and I'll see you next time. You can catch me on bohemianbritain.com, or, of course, always, twice a week, Saturday afternoon and Tuesdays, here with Literary London on Resonance 104.4 FM.